and welcome back. This is Ender Locke here with the Premier Baseball Association, and we're going to be looking at the NL Mexican Division today. We have 5 teams, as usual: Zapopan, Mexico City, Guadalajara, Juárez, and Tijuana. So we are going to start off here with Zapopan. I have not looked at any of these teams, so I am just as curious as you guys are to see what the teams look like here. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with the Zapopan Tormenta. Again, I haven't looked at these teams at all, so it'll be interesting to see what we find here. All right, we've got a 70 defensive shortstop, which, as we've mentioned, has been pretty common in the American League, but not quite as common in the National League. So he's average, above average across the board hitting. Their 6th round pick. He's one of the better defensive shortstops here we've seen so far. And we did just start here in the Mexican League. All right. Oh, let's look at Hog Barn. I like Hog Barn. 2nd round pick. Okay, so plus contact. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So he's a solid batter, I guess. I'm not really convinced that they have much defense, though. Even though we saw a good defensive shortstop. Fakri, is that how you say his name? That's interesting. He's an all right, okay, defensive first baseman. Nothing to write home about. One of their better offensive players, though, and I'm not very sold home on Zapopan yet. Another solid defender up the center there with Qualarang. Still, the defense seems to be average or slightly below average, especially for what we've seen in this league so far. So I'm really hoping we see some good pitchers here in the rotation, because I'm not a big fan of their overall offensive capabilities here. Just not a lot of power compared to what we've seen outside of Fakri. Mark Brewer, yeah, not a lot of power there at all. So let's go ahead and look at the rotation. All right, well, we are starting out strong here with Bake, and okay, so we've got 3+ pitches. That curveball isn't fantastic. Like his HRA and the movement control is both plus, so he's definitely Mr. Skeet here, as his nickname is. Their 1st round pick, number 23rd overall. He definitely could find himself in some Cy Young races. So we'll go ahead and add him to the Cy Young watch list. So there's their first person added to the watch list. Looks like their 5th round pick is their 2nd starter. He's got 3+ pitches. I don't mind him. I wish the perfect storm here was the 3rd overall, not their 2nd overall pitcher. But I think he'll do fine. Granted, he makes and breaks commitments easily, so maybe you want him really at the back end of your rotation. Let's go ahead and look at the 3rd starter here. Sobleweski. 3+ pitches, a fastball, sinker, cutter, plus movement and control, and home run against. So, yeah, he's a solid pitcher. He was their 8th round pick, so I don't mind him there. Kenwood, 23, 3 pitches, fastball plus, and a sinker and cutter plus. Control a little less than I'd like, but we're getting to the end of the rotation, so that's not terrible. he'll definitely hold up at the end of being the fourth starting pitcher, I think. Same here with Gavrai as their fifth pitcher. This is, I mean, we've seen a couple teams have fifth and sixth pitchers at 60s, 60 overall or in potential, but most teams have kind of fallen to the 45 range by the time we get to the fifth and sixth pitcher. So it's nice to see that they only have one pitcher like that, and I don't really mind Bay as the sixth pitcher here for the team. So yes, that's all right rotation. They're not one of the strongest teams we've seen, but definitely made up for some of their, probably above average offense and average or below average defense overall, except right up there in the middle for double plays. Let's go ahead and here and look at the bullpen then. Start off with David McClareth. Just your typical 13. He was a 13th round, your typical closer, 2++ pitches, good velocity. Same thing. It looks like we're gonna get here with their relief pitchers. Is just very typical 80 stuff, 2 pitches, not enough stamina or control movement to be a starter. That looks like what we've got here for their entire bullpen. So don't hate the team as much as I thought that we might coming into it, but definitely hoping we see some better teams here in the Mexican division. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the Mexico City Águilas here. So again, haven't looked at these teams at all. I should have probably looked at the inaugural draft just to know the order. So we're starting out with Golino, who was their second round pick at 78 overall, plus center field. He plays right field for them too, so they might have a good defensive center field then. This might be a good defensive team here potentially then if he's playing right field and not center for them. Not going to add him to the MVP list, though. He's a solid player, but I'm not expecting him to get any MVPs. Well, there goes that. They have a good center fielder. He's a incredibly poor defender. I don't even know why they're considering starting him there. I would flip the defensive positions of Golino and Stefan for sure. That's wild that they're playing him like that. So Bedouin, he's a plus defender, kind of built more like a corner infielder though, with the power, plus power there, and kind of strikeout prone. But as their 13th overall, 13th round pick, not bad. I like them so far more than Zapopan. Almost miss Yermas. All right, so the third overall pick. So we've now seen in the National League their first and second overall pick in the Canadian division, and now the third overall pick here in the Mexican division. So a plus shortstop defense at 60 is solid. I'm definitely adding him to the MVP watch list. A lefty bat, 70 power and contact, and not super prone to striking out. So that's a Shrug is his nickname. I like Shrug. I'm liking this team so far. That's for sure. Inaba, he was their 4th round pick. He's definitely a solid first baseman, especially when he develops just a little bit more. And it's weird to say since he's 32, but it looks like he's played more third base in his career than first base. So once he develops that first base into some plus defense, it looks like he has there. He definitely is going to be an above average first baseman with that plus I at 80 and plus power at 65. Not too prone to strikeouts like some power hitters. Anyone else taking a look at here on the offensive side of things? Not really. I definitely like this offense overall more than Zapopan. So let's go ahead and look at their rotation. I think we still have their second round pick available, so it might be first pitcher here. Looks like it probably is here, or third round pick. Norman Goody, Stocky is his nickname. He's a solid pitcher. Definitely worthy of number one. I wish he had one more pitch for that, but yeah, definitely like Mexico City so far for this division. All right, so the 5th overall pick, Yifu, wish that curveball developed more than 35 because he's not really going to be able to throw that often, if at all. But four pitches, above average to plus pitches, the fastball change, sinker and splitter, 60 control, 60 movement. I really like that 70 home run against. And he's not a ground ball tendency either, so that 70 is nice. Yeah, he's definitely a really good. The toy cannon, definitely a solid number 2. Kevin Tisdale, Adam Wood. Let's take a look at them. Kevin Tisdale, I wish his control was higher, but you're going to have one or two things you don't like about some of these more back-end starters. So Kevin Tisdale is fine. Adam Wood, again, he's kind of got the opposite, a little more control and movement than Tisdale. He's got 4 pitches too, all plus, with a plus cutter. But the stuff is just kind of above average, as the velocity isn't too great, nor is the movement. So Adam Wood's solid. All of their starters have nicknames. Adam Wood, the Jedi. Hagos Ahmed, first one without a nickname. 4 starting pitchers. 4 pitches. Plus fastball, sinker, and cutter, and then a plus changeup. Mexico City looks like one of the better teams we've seen. Having 60s plus pitchers through the first 5 of the starting rotation, and just Jason Underhill is kind of a throw-in end of the rotation. It's like he was their 40th pick, so yeah, probably not expecting a lot out of him, and hopefully since they look like they're a team to beat here, potentially in not only this division but the conference, they could upgrade that position. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bullpen. 7th round pick, so it's about, I think 6th is the highest we've seen a closer go, so good closer. Talat Benark, you got 85 stuff here in this setup with Sular. I think we saw the same thing with Weber. 75 stuff with Weber, but a 95 fastball with 100 plus mount. Yeah, they've got I like their bullpen too so far, just from what we've looked at. Be nice to see if they had someone with a couple extra pitches, because they do have some fragile guys here, and that could impact them down by the end of the season. But overall, yeah, I really like the Mexico City team so far. So far is one of my favorites I think we've seen. I like them more than I liked Edmonton. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on. All right. So let's continue on with the NL Mexican division. We'll move on to Guadalajara Charros. Come on. All right, so let's go ahead and look at their offense and defense here. Start off with Gene Grand, who looks like an above average. Okay, for an 11th round pick, I don't mind the doghouse. I like his personality traits there, with the work ethic and intelligence being high. A little financial ambition is nice too. 70 speed and 85 base stealing stealing aggressiveness and stealing ability. I can't remember who the other player was. We've seen a couple players like that, but not many. It'll be interesting to see how many stolen bases some of these guys have based on their usage. It looks like he's a Gold Glover at corner, outfield, and a plus defender in center. So, we'll have to see if usually I say they have good defense, and then the next player is shit, and it all goes to hell. So, Sigmund Gross, 60 power, solid all around. Jeffrey Miller, looks like he was their 4th round pick. Gold Glove potential here at second base. That is nice. So far they've got the best defense I think we've seen so far. Yeah, he's got 60 almost across the board, just a little lower gap power, so he could definitely be somebody that leads a team offense. I don't love him being maybe their best offensive player. We'll see though if that's the case. They could have better defenders still. Bob Carrera looks like in slightly above average outside corner outfielder. We've seen same thing with Thyssen at third base. Barnes, Dorrington. So their defense kind of really. Oh, of course we get another 70 here at shortstop. So yeah, I think their defense is slightly better than we've seen so far in the NL here. What do we have at? And they end with a 75 catcher, a Gold Glover catcher. I mean, he can't do anything offensively, but, definitely going to help their defense and their rotation, which I'm hoping we see two studs here right off the top. So let's go ahead and take a look at that rotation. Jason Nelson, definitely 38th pick. First round, hot wire here is a 4-pitch, no fastball, but he's got a plus slider, splitter, cutter, plus changeup. I really like that 70 control. So, definitely somebody that will go ahead and add to that Cy Young watch list there. And we'll move ahead to Pat Teal. She was their 2nd round pick. Another just stud starting pitcher, so we'll go ahead and add him to the Cy Young watch list as well. I think that Guadalajara might be on par, if not better, than Mexico City right now. Let's see how the rest of this lines up here from their pitching staff. So Julio Melendez, he's got 4 pitches. Sinker is below average, but it looks he can still kind of use it at 45. Wish that movement was a little bit better for Long Tom here, as he is their 3rd pitcher, a 7th round pick. I hope they have a little bit more depth here. I do like Antonio Rosario, 4 pitches, 60 control. With 4+ pitches and the plus cutter there, I'm totally okay with the 55 movement. 60 control definitely makes that acceptable. Little lower stamina than I'd like to see, but I'd probably have him as the 3rd pitcher, not the 4th, and switch those 2 around. Looks like Angel Rivera and Xavier Flicking are just kind of below average pitchers to round out the end. So that was the one thing Mexico City had for them, was they didn't really get into these. I mean, I don't mind Rivera here too much with his 5 pitches. I wish that changeup developed, and I wish one of his movement or control was a little better. But at 26, he could still develop a little bit. So, he might be a little underrated at a 45. So they're on par with Mexico City, especially with the top 2 of their rotation having just being such studs. So let's go ahead and look at the bullpen here. Camille, 5th round pick, one of the highest we've seen on a closer to date. Definitely would be fine having him close games with the 100 mile per hour and then the fastball changeup, both being plus pitches. Jetty, I really do like as a relief option with 3++ pitches with that fastball, sinker, cutter arsenal and the 65 control, 60 movement, and he's not going to give up as many home runs. So I like him as a set-up man there to Kamal. Neen is, again, just kind of your typical bullpen arm there that we've seen quite a bit here. Wow, I do like Puskara. 3 pitches, solid control. This stuff is, yeah, I really like him. Unfortunately, a little more stamina. Maybe he could start a little bit, but or be an opener. But yeah, solid relief option for sure. And then we got another. Hoagie is just another average, or your typical, not average, but your typical bullpen arm. So, yeah, so taking a look at Guadalajara there, I definitely have them on par with Mexico City right now. Let's go ahead and finish out the rest of this division. All right, let's go ahead and work on the 4th team here in our Mexican division, Juárez Desert Hawks. So let's see. Wow, lots of lefties in their lineup. Jesus Hernandez. Okay, so he's another base stealer potential. He was their 11th round pick. Okay. He's a plus center field defender. I like him as a player. Doesn't necessarily have any, I mean, he's got some above average skills. The eye at 60 is plus, but, definitely a solid leadoff hitter. Granted, having a 45 defense left fielder is like having Kyle Schwarber. Actually, that's probably better than Kyle Schwarber in your outfield. Solid bat, though, at least. Plus, basically, everything. 60 to 65. 35 first base defense. He had to be their DH, right? Oh my god. Wow. Can he be an MVP candidate if he can't play like one of the easiest positions to play at all? Wow. I guess I have to put him on there, but their 2nd round pick and he can't play defense. His name is Van. That is, like, he's a fucking soccer mom Van type player that can't play defense. All right, let's get him added to there. Wow, that's, makes me wonder. All right, so their 1st round pick is more of a 3rd baseman. I know he's at shortstop here for them, but that tells you all you need to know. He was the 28th pick. I mean, he's probably going to be a solid player for them, but I'm not. Just with their overall defense inefficiencies, having a 3rd baseman play shortstop is not gonna work for them. He should at least be at 2nd, not short, but that kind of tells you where their defense is gonna be. Connor Fitz here, tobacco chewing Johnny. That is a nickname. He was their 9th round pick. He's a plus defender at 3rd base, so I see why they're not having. I see why they're playing the defense like they are. He'll be a solid player. He's not going to be in. I mean, he could, I guess, break out and be an MVP candidate, but I'm not going to put him on that list. Just kind of looking here. Lemieux, he just can't play 2nd base at 40. Their defense is just so underwhelming. There's no way I can put them. There's no way I can put them up with the top teams in this division. There's just no way. mean, one of their better defenders is their catcher, Matoro. 7th round pick. Yeah. All right. Well, not that might have been one that they're not really impressed with their offense is okay. It's maybe better than Zapopan's that we looked at, but not defense is not going to cut it. Not what we've seen in this league so far. So if we're going to look at their starting pitchers here, we got Fabian, Boy Wonder, Lobovisky. He is their 4th round pick, 3++ pitches. He's fine, but I wouldn't really consider him number 1. Emilio is another 3-pitch, a fastball, cutter ++, and a sinker +. He's fine. He's not gonna. I mean, I'm not really too blown away with their starting rotation at this point. Their first, so I do like LG here. He's got 5 pitches. Almost all of them are plus. No fastball though. Wish he had a little more velocity. Especially still only being 28th and 91 to 93 is a little bit concerning. But the movement is good. The control is good. He might be their best pitcher. And he's their 3rd in their lineup. And then we got they had lots of lefties on this team. Honestly, other than the personality traits being terrible, I actually think and him being a fragile starting pitcher, I like his overall makeup with the 2++ pitches in the 70s at fastball and cutter, and then the 60 slider and 55 sinker. You can use all 4 of those pitches, the 60 control, solid. Home running against, I wish that would be in the 60s as a starter, but I would take meal ticket in the middle back end of my rotation for sure. I don't know that we're going to look at either of the back end rotation guys. I am curious just to see what Diego. Yeah, Diego's just an average 6th guy we've seen in some of these bullpens. I do like that Ortiz has 4 pitches here at the back of the rotation. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bullpen here. We have Mike Harwood at closer. Does not have a lot of control. He might be one of the worst closers we've seen, unfortunately. 16th round pick, that might be why. But 45, I mean, he'll be able to get away with 45 control closing. But just saying, I don't think we've seen a lot of closers with anything below average in their makeup, at least at this point. We can take a look at the rest of the bullpen here. Honestly, I might prefer Lucangelo to be the closer versus Harwood, but it's to each their own. Stewart's got 2++ pitches of the fastball and the slider, not quite 100 miles per hour. Again, he's got better control. I might consider working him in at closer instead. Ricky Herrera and Rick Spear close out the bullpen. This kind of look like your typical bullpen relievers. So there we go. We've got one more team left to finish off here. All right, so let's go ahead and take care of the last team here, Tijuana Vaqueros. Come on, here we go. All right, so handful of lefties again, split though. 50 defense in center field. Okay, so Tyler Childers is their 1st round pick. 39th overall selection. Okay, so they way at the end of the 1st round. I actually like his makeup. If he can get to that 75 defense, Batman here becomes a really solid overall second baseman. He's not going to hit a lot of home runs, but he's going to be an anchor there at the top of your lineup. But why is he their DH if he's that good defensively? Who is their second baseman? I don't like this. He's 37. I don't like this AI. Put him at third base or something. Manny Montalongo. He's fragile, so maybe it won't matter. Maybe he'll just get hurt and won't be playing second base anyways, but just very average player in my opinion to be having Tyler be a DH and not work on his defense if he can be that good. So, all right, sorry, let's go ahead and look at the rest here. The offense, left field, we've got Keoch, who is plus everywhere and even running running ratings. So that's an interesting left fielder. Not quite enough arm to play right. So let's go ahead here and look at shortstop, Dallas Dean. Okay, so is this their second round pick? That's right, we already saw their first round pick. So 70 at short. I'll add him to the home run list, MVP watch list with that 75 power. He's gonna strike out a lot. I'm not sure how much I like this team so far, but I think they're kind of in between the Mexico City and Guadalajara teams and the bottom tier here. So anyone else here really worth looking at? I mean, this seems to be really short because I'm just not really intrigued by any of these guys. Right field, they could use a little bit more power potentially. Outside of shortstop, they just really don't have a whole heck of a lot of power on this team. I guess Keoch brings some, and it just doesn't have a lot of power. So I think Tijuana probably gonna go in the middle there. But let's look at their rotation. Well, we know we've already seen their first two picks, so we're probably not looking at great pitching here. So yeah, we can start off with Kamanthi. He's a fine starting pitcher. I'm not sure. I mean, he could be your number one starting pitcher. He's fine, but that knuckle curve only being a 40. He's got a cutter and a fastball at 70 and a splitter at 60. I just wish he had, if that knuckle curve is going to be there, I wish it was just a little bit better. Do like the velocity at up to 97, though. It's all right. If you've got two pitchers like him, then you're probably doing good. All right, so we've got Matt Grant, who still has some development potential, it looks like, as their number 2. He's their 4th-round pick. I wish he had one more pitch if he's not going to have anything plus. Doesn't have great velocity. That 50 stuff, I think, is really going to cost him in his ability to be I'm going to watch him because that control is 70, so I would really want to track him, but I think that stuff is going to hurt him at the end of the day. Rutger Brown, 3+ pitches, fastball at 70 and cutter at 75, 65 slider. Control and movement plus. He might be their best starting pitcher so far, and they have him 3rd. I mean, Hassan is probably their 1st, but I don't mind Rutger Brown. We're starting to get into some probably one of the worst-ish back ends we've seen, and they're not all 45s, but not much to write home around about Tijuana. So let's go ahead here and look at the bullpen then. We've got Andrew Stastny as the closer, 6th-round pick. Again, one of the higher we've seen on a closer. I think 5th, maybe 4th, 5th, I think is definitely what we've seen highest for a closer. I like his personality traits, the work ethic. Wish we'd see intelligence in there too. But he's a solid closer with some, above 80 pitches. We went back to Matt Grant. We just want to look at him again. So Justin Bird set up. He's your typical relief pitcher. Looks like they only have one setup man. So Jonathan Gooden. Typical relief. Hakeem Chuma. Similar. He's got 3 pitches though, so I like having one of those guys in my bullpen. And then Deneen Scott. I like him. I wish he had a little more HRA, but overall, Deneen Scott here I think is a solid relief arm as well. So with that, we've taken a look at the entire Mexican division. So let's go ahead and take a look overall who we think will win. All right, yeah, so we've went through the whole Mexican division here. quick rundown of my predictions after looking through all the rosters. I think by far and away, we've got two teams here at the top with Mexico City and Guadalajara. I went back and forth and back and forth. I'm gonna stick with my gut from the start with Mexico City. In Guadalajara, I've got Tijuana is kind of that third tier. I don't expect them to make the playoffs. And then Zapopan and Juárez bringing up the rear. I don't really expect those teams to have much of an impact this season. So there we go. Thank you for stopping by. This is Ender Lack signing out again with the PBA. We will be taking a look at the first of the two Latin American divisions next time. Hope to see you soon.